people have showed up. Normal tradition, I think, in Dubai is that people sort of tend to take it easy on day 2, but I'm heartened to see that so many people have. So much appreciated. I think we had a good session yesterday, and there was a lot of energy flowing in the room, and I'm just hopeful that we continue the trend today as well. So those of you who have joined us today, my name is V. Surendra, and I'm the editor of Climate Control Middle East magazine. We are running a bit late. Obviously we wanted more people to come in, but we are doing fine in terms of time because we did make a provision, we have a buffer, so nothing will run short that way. We start off this morning with technical presentation by Danfoss. Mr. Javier Lazaro is going to be talking on behalf of Danfoss, and he's going to be talking on the subject food safety and store profitability. And this is going to be followed, now each session is going to be followed by a 10-minute Q&A. So if you can reserve your questions. But of course, for the sake of continuity, if you wish to ask something, please go ahead. I mean, we want the discussions to be very free-flowing, and that's really what gets things going. The second presentation is by Amitesh Singh of Emerson, and it's titled Increasing Profitability Through Energy Efficiency and Intelligent Store. And the third presentation is by Mr. Peya Chamas of ITT, and it's called Controlling Food Loss in Post-Harvest System. And following that, we are having something unique. We are calling some members of the media, and we are trying to see if there can be an interface between the media and the food industry. And it's basically for journalists like myself to understand the food industry better, so that we can do a better job at reporting food safety issues. And that's going to be followed by a presentation by Mr. Richard Sprenger of Highfield UK, and it's simply titled PIC. Is that right, Richard? Yes. And that's going to be followed by moderators' comments. And then we go for lunch, and post-lunch, I'm sure we'll get this right today, organizing a site visit to Waitrose once again, but this time we are we have already worked on a plan so that it's meaningful and it's not as confusing as it was yesterday. And so we're going to be taking people in batches, and batches of 6, so that's whatever is going to be said is audible for everyone, and hopefully that's going to turn out well as well. And the afternoon session is something that I'm really looking forward to. Not that I'm not looking forward to morning sessions, but afternoon we have a dedicated session on refrigerated transportation. Mr. Khalid Abusa, whom you had the pleasure of listening to yesterday, is going to lead off with 2 presentations. The first one is called Transportation and Distribution of Refrigerated Products, and the second one is Transportation and the Fishing Industry. And that's going to be followed by the final technical presentation of the day by Mr. Prakash Krishnamurthy of Carrier Transport, and it's titled Cold Chain and Best Loading Practices for Transportation Perspective. And I'm going to request, post that I'm going to request all of you, if you wish, to take to the stage, and if you wish to have any final comments and observations, because what we're trying to achieve through this event is community building. It's I think it's a rare occasion where the food industry and the refrigeration industry come together, and there's a lot of exchange of knowledge and insights. So that's something that we hope to achieve today as well, and with that we close the seminar. And thank you. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you. Mr. Abusa is going to moderate this session, so I'm going to ask him to
Before we start, I just would like to conclude with a few remarks. The first one, I would request from the notes I have received from some of the audience yesterday, that because all of us come from different nationalities, speak different dialect, the same English language, sometimes some of the people do not understand well the other parties when they speak. So I would request you to two things, to speak a little bit loudly and slowly, so the other nationalities or the other persons can understand the English language of the different dialects. This is number one. Number two, I would like to request you to state your name when you want to ask a question, so the others know who you are. Other things, I had been requested to give a copy of the presentation yesterday, and I say that all the presentations, not only mine, the whole thing should be available free in a minute for any one of you. Please request it from Mr. Surinder or Deep or Stephanie. Just record your name or give your card, and we will see how we can get you reach to that, either by through a link on the internet, or we just pass it to you by email, if the size of the presentations can allow being transmitted in one email. And the last thing, before we start, we always depend on your participation, and would like you to send us your recommendations for the next gathering. This will not be the last one. We hope, although I think this is the second in the past year and a half, and we would like to continue this in regular basis. And we would like to have some feedback from you on what you would like to see as improvement in the next gathering. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Mr. Rafael Lazaro.
Yeah, please. Yes, thank you. Hello, thank you for giving me the word. Okay, good morning, everybody. I think this is the wake-up session. Good morning in the morning, so it's actually to meet all the stuff for everybody. Even with me, not even for me. But I just start with introducing myself. My name is Javier Lázaro. I'm actually the sales director of the food retail, Danfoss food retail business in Southern Europe and Middle East. My background is I'm a mechanical engineer. I have some other postgraduate degrees in fluid mechanics and business administration. And I've been working in Danfoss for almost 20 years. So, I mean, I know the company a little bit. Okay, I want to use this, actually I want to use this presentation as a kind of a continuation of the discussion we had yesterday, which actually was quite interesting, in the issues related to food safety and store profitability in terms of energy saving, store operations and things like that. I think I don't want to, if I get too boring, just raise the hands and I will stop it. So I will leave them. I might be fired for that or so. But I mean, it's seriously, it's just, this is actually, it has to be, it's more of you know, I don't want this, actually this presentation to be commercial to technical. It's about raise questions, provide you what type of solution we offer to the industry today, to the food retail industry, just for you to judge. First, to a slide, I will just make a very quick introduction of Danfoss for all of you who doesn't know Danfoss too much. And I'll go quickly. If there's any question, I will also be around here, so I can also answer those later on. But these first two slides, to set a little bit the scenes. I mean, Danfoss is a company that was born in 1933. So we are almost 80 years old. The company actually started, the first product we have in our company was a FoodChain related product. It was the thermostatic expansion valve. That's actually helped open really the business within Danfoss of making this refrigeration more accessible by doing this injection. Okay? And that's actually the first product we had, and from then on we start, the company, Mark Clausen, the founder of our company, start building the company and the business of the company as we know today. We are multinational with a global footprint, and actually does give us a chance to think globally and also act locally. We are, as you can see, you can read there, we are manufacturing locations. We have 93 manufacturing locations, and the service organization support is also spreading in almost 140 branches, and we also have agents, more than 450 agents already. We got those sales in 2010, which as it was a good year for us, is $6,100 million US dollars. It's actually a record sales for us. And we are doing that with almost 23,000 employees. Okay? We manufacture, I think also a little bit of our difficulty. We are also known in the industry as having a lot of variety of our products. We manufacture actually 250,000 items per day. So that put us pressure in terms of logistics, as you can imagine. Okay? But that's quite a amount of items of all these bits and pieces that we are producing for the industry. One of the major values, if we have to analyze what TAFOs are we, what TAFOs are here for, we normally state very clear that one of the major values we offer to the industry is the possibility we are enabling customers. It's about enabling customers to achieve this sustainable, what we call sustainable results in energy savings and food safety. Actually, these two main subjects of the presentation, within Danfoss, we have an organization called Danfoss Food Retail. That's the business unit I'm heading, and it's called Danfoss Food Retail. That Food Retail is an organization that within Danfoss understood that there was enough topic within that business unit to just have that company focus on as a business unit with all the things related to it. We are here, we have more than 25 years of experience addressing the food retail industry. We actually were one of the pioneers, in introducing what is called the electronic expansion valve. I don't know whether you know that, but this is actually a technology that is used in the evaporator to really pursue the energy saving results. I think this is something I'm not going to go into that detail, but at least for you to know. We'll mention later on, just only mention those possibilities as a technology for energy saving. And where we are today, market leaders in value-added system for food retail business. Specified in the 10 world, the top 10 retailers, and we are reliable partners. You can see, there are some of the reference we have. Okay, now after these two slides, which has, giving you a kind of an idea. Okay, here we are. It's giving you a kind of idea where we are, why we are here, why we are interested in knowing the demands of the market and trying to address those demands with our solutions. I just want to sum up here some of the topics or the issues that were raised here in the round table that we had yesterday. Most of them are something that I took yesterday, the notes that I took yesterday. And we were talking actually about, in terms of in the subject of food safety and energy saving, we were talking about the temperature measurements. So, we were also at the beginning with those issues related with what type of sensors, type sensor of sensors to use. We were also discussing about accuracy, how to record that within also this issue related to food safety. What about product temperature? Is there anything related to product temperature? What about the temperature versus product temperature? Location of sensors. All issues, all those type of issues has to do with temperature measurements and to some extent with how we really secure the food, with that is controlled under the right temperature. We talk also about contingency plans and trainings, how this can be addressed, what type of tools are available really to minimize maybe the impact of a contingency plans or minimize the impact of an emergency. Also to provide means to facilitate the training of the things. Quality and reliability also are subjects, they also have to do with food safety, clearly, and we all recognize that as something that is very much related to food safety. We also touch upon design, commissioning, installations, what do we have, what type of gaps do we have there, how we can take that we can take the learning of those type of installations into new installations? How can we link the experience we have from one installation into the other one? How the commissioning is done? Whether the commissionings, if we do, are we making sure that the commissionings are done according to what has been specified? That's another topic, interesting topic, because it's about ensuring the food safety and also at the same time ensuring what the energy saving that was promised. So it's actually quite an interesting topic. And then we also mentioned discussions about defrost methods, which there are many defrost methods, and different depending on where we are. One more suitable than others. In terms of energy saving, we're also talking about refrigeration versus HVAC. No, and I guess we can recognize that in the story just to see, okay, how this can be linked, what type of energy saving sources do we have there, possibilities do we have there, energy saving equipment versus fresh cost, this investment, what about the budget, is the energy saving equipment worthwhile to buy, do we have the budget for that, what about what the retailers have to say about that. Then the issue about just to demand, because actually is one of the major, especially within refrigeration. We all agree that refrigeration is a traditional, it's a very traditional business, it's a very traditional industry. And sometimes, the energy saving doesn't come from any rocket science solution or technology. Actually, it comes directly from just only adjust to demand, to have a proper adjust to demand of what we have. We have normally the design of the refrigeration installations are done according to the worst condition, as we discussed yesterday. So we know that the load in the store, in the supermarket is very variable. How to adjust the load to what is needed instead of running just a simple on-off, that will bring saving as well. And then the value of measuring and monitoring system to project. Those are some of the issues that were mentioned yesterday, which I would like to address and let you know what solutions today are available in the market on us. Our solutions, what we say, what we claim to the industry is that we provide benefits in all those two subjects. Basically, energy saving and food safety, and we actually have added the other one, which is actually very much related to the other ones, which is related to maintenance and service cost reduction. Within energy saving, there's a huge potential within refrigeration to get up to 35% saving. When I talk about percent, it's always talking about energy saving, you're always talking about potential. And when you're talking about percentage, it's also important to refer also that percentage to what value is related to. Because you can have a percentage, sometimes you say when you are doing defrost, you can have a saving if you do a proper methodology for the defrost, you can get a saving of 80% or 60% of the defrost, but that's only the 60% of the consumption of the defrost, which actually is only 1% or 2% of the total refrigeration consumption, refrigeration cost you have in the supermarket. Here when we are talking about 35%, it's 35% of the total refrigeration bill that you have, electricity bill. So that's the potential. It's always a reference. The potential is also depending how you have set up what is the infrastructure of the installations versus what can be applied, what can be implemented. But the potential is this is what you can get roughly if you apply the right infrastructure to your installation. We also, for example, we are here talking about saving of energy, but there are also mechanisms for money saving. We know that in many countries there is a tariff issue. That system can help you to save money, maybe not to save energy, but also to save money. You apply it and you consume the energy when it's cheaper. Okay? Also related to those savings. Those are other sources of saving. In terms of food safety management, when we talk about hazard and other tougher regulations, hazard, as I think Richard mentioned, it's not, it means the word hazard means nothing. It's more of a food, it's something of food quality assurance. It's a methodology, as far as I understand. You also mentioned that.
Food safety management system.
Exactly. That's exactly the problem. But I give you, set up a little bit of the standards within the food retail industry to which way we go and which way we should go. This actually has given this hazard standards has given the path to other type of regulation or European norms that are setting the standards that are applied in Europe. You know? Then the question is how you adjust them locally to all the different countries, which that's the different, but that's for the local country then to decide from those standards how to get tougher, how to spread that, how to interpret it, and going forward. But I think the important thing here is that we're following those standards, so we actually, within our agreement, we are taking food safety always very seriously. We're always saying, okay, everything we make, every product, every solution, every infrastructure we create, we are making sure that we are fulfilling those standards. So this standards is like a paper that we have in front of every day in our factories, just to make sure that everything we produce, every solution we provide, we offer to the industry, are always complying with this hazard regulation, hazard standard. And that's why we say no extra cost. Always related with food safety, there is a cost factor there. Apart from as a direct factor, I would say. You can say that's about this, the major value you have is that you save people's lives. I mean, you're not poisoning people. That's the major value. But when it comes to cost also, for the as a motivator also for the retailer, it has a clear impact in food losses. Today, food losses, month or so. We know, I don't want, but here we have retailers who know much better than me what is the impact of food loss. But I think it's quite relevant, it's quite significant. And that's important because that's something, it's a cost factor you can immediately influence. And that's food losses. And of course, you're talking about food safety is peace of mind. In terms of maintenance and service costs, we have an easy product tools and data management for automated routines and early warning. That's also an important part and is working towards that. So we can just summarize that what is important in terms of services is ensure food safety and enhance store operation while improving bottom line results. That's a little bit of the offer. No? Okay, that's a minute here. What? 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and then go very quick. Okay, when we talk about this, how we do, now we say, okay, how we do. In order to do that, in order to really control, to have all this energy, all the food safety stuff, food safety issues, and energy saving issues, you need to create an infrastructure. And that's, then you have to provide all the different elements, the consumer, and the potential risk element within the store. You need all of them, need to be there. You need to create the infrastructure in order to provide that type of safety and that of saving potential. Okay? Oh, okay. There are many sources. Here we discuss, I'm just listing the different sources we have within the store for energy saving. Within refrigeration, which is probably the one that accounts for most of the saving, you have, actually based on the consumption, as we discussed there, when within a supermarket, we might account for more than 40-45% of the total energy consumption of the supermarket. You can actually go to evaporator efficiency and really address that issue and create infrastructure to do the savings there. We also can do a lot in the compression and condenser side. We can also, with all the rest of the elements, we also touch, we really go into those type of elements, fan heat, gas lighting, and defrost efficiency. We also touch upon heat recovery. Those are issues that our electronic control solutions can enable, okay? Provide a solution, we can enable that possibility. Within HIBA, we also can do a lot of coordination within the stores, and just only by what I call on-off intelligent controls. You can also do without applying any specific rocket science, adjust to demand and do a lot of saving. You can also do the same with lights. There's also a lot of things that can be done with lights within the store that can save a lot of energy, just by simple indoor, controlling indoor and outdoor lights through on-off scheduling, or even using light sensors or presence sensors. There's a lot of savings that you can also achieve there. No? If you look at the refrigeration, basically, if you focus only on the refrigeration, I don't know what that goes so slow. Oh. Okay, yeah. That's a simplified liquids. Well, you can get, you have the simplified field of refrigeration here within the store. You get the condenser, the compressors, and the evaporators. And the idea is actually that you try to go there to coordinate all these three elements in order to get the saving. Okay? You improve the efficiency of the evaporators by doing, applying certain technology like the electronic expansion valve, and then you improve the compressor, condenser efficiency by reducing, minimizing the start and the stop through different algorithms. And reduce also the suction pressure and condenser pressure differences, and stabilizing the different pressure through also using technology with drives. That's the way actually we do it in order to achieve that. That's why I say this potential is enabling this energy saving potential. In terms of food safety, we talk about measuring accuracy. We discussed some of the issues yesterday about measuring accuracy. And that's important, and all our equipment are actually, that's the reference. This norm EN 441 31, that's the one that's the reference, and the reference norm that we use for hazard. And there's a lot of things mentioned there. One of them is actually related to the accuracy of the measurement. And then later on we're taking over by actually these other norms here, the 12,830 and the 13,485. And the idea is actually that we make sure that those are fulfilled within our equipment. Another issue here, important issue, is that also we provide product simulation. Yesterday we discussed about the difference between whether we measure the temperature of the air and what about the products. Because that's, one thing is the air temperature, another thing is the product temperature. And that's true. This is totally different behavior. Normally the air temperature is something that we need for optimizing the control, but for the food safety, I think it's much better to just really go directly to simulate what the product temperature should be. Because that's actually the one we are looking for. For that type of purposes, there are possibilities, there are options in the market where we use this product simulation temperature, where we just increase the time constant of the sensor, time constant of the sensor, so we actually increase the inertia of the product, just to simulate an average of what should be the temperature of the product. So we separate this, and that's also a recommendation within the norms, that within our solutions, which there's a bit of separation between which are the elements of the variables used for control, to optimize control, and that the product temperature, or the things related to food safety, are separated from the control. So within the same hardware, we have the possibility to have a product simulation for hazard purpose, or for food safety purpose, and then a control for optimizing energy saving within the same elements. Then we have also the alarm routines, which is every warning. I think this is also an important aspect. That to me is basically is addressing this issue about contingency plan. It's minimizing the impact of the contingency plan. This type of element, this type of solution, what we provide to the industry is the possibility to be more proactive in the way the store are managed. And that's what you can actually improve with this type of tool. And at the end, those types of integration operation, the whole integration operation can provide you this tool, this possibility of minimizing the food losses. Okay, just go quickly through this one. It's just, if there's any other question, again, I'm going to be outside, so I can also answer those. But this is actually an example of how the way we take care of this requirement related to accuracy, like in this case here, using proper sensors, with certain accuracy, plus the proper, accuracy of the controllers. You can combine, because at the end, we need always, when it comes to accuracy, we need to take into consideration that accuracy means that there is actually accuracy of the total, of the whole complete equipment. It's about sensors, it's about controllers. All the things that you have, they need all of them, all the elements that you need to measure the temperature, combined, need to have the right accuracy. If you combine, for instance, in this case, this PD1000 type of sensor with the power controllers with that type of accuracy, you can make sure here that you will never reach the ±1 degree, which is mentioned in the regulation. By applying this, no matter where you are always ensuring that you are within the range of ±1 degree, which is the class 1 mentioned in the norms required for the accuracy. Product simulation, as an example, that's the way we do it. We do product simulation also when there is a concern, when there's a requirement for product simulation, when actually the regulation gets tougher and you say, okay, I need quality food safety beyond air temperature. I want to have food safety based on product temperature. I can go into product simulations, and we have this type of sensors that simulate, the product temperature, and can be used, for hazard documentation as well, in a much more accurate. I'll just another important aspect also within food safety that we also touched upon yesterday. That's about the sensor. That's also more documentation here about this type of product sensor here. But I think just only this is some of the things that I have mentioned here before. I just want to say, okay, this is what we say is here. We have the control of the evaporator. This is the controller of the evaporator. Normally we say, okay, let's also get some kind of product sensor separate from the control. So we optimize food safety and energy saving combined. Okay, that's the idea. But I also want to adhere to draw the attention of this case cleaning issue. We also have provided needs to record all those type of issues, not only record temperature, also record, what is the cleaning. Case cleaning is also an issue, important issue within hygiene. I think we also here have that possibility. We have within our system the possibility to use that as another means to protect the hygiene of the store. Just that's an overview, quick overview. I just want to just stop in a couple of minutes here, just to see, this type of, when we talked about also yesterday about data. I don't know who mentioned that, but there was a lot of also comments about how the data should be handled. We normally provide with all this type of system a lot of information, a lot of bad information, and if that is presented as such, just without any better organization or better structure, it's almost impossible to read it or to recognize. I think it's important that we always know the report, the information is presented in a very structured way, so you are really presenting management information or executive information for you to make the right decision. In the case of for the health inspectors, I think it's also important that they get also the information so they can have in one shot whether the store is performing. This, for instance, is one of the examples of reports for hazard that we provide, where you can really see immediately here. You can see this is the whole store, that's the different evaporators, or the different display cases and cold rooms. And that's actually the one-day data, where you have in just one shot with color code, you can immediately recognize whether there's any of the display cases or cold rooms which are violating the setting, okay, of the different units. Those type of reports are also combined with what we call also system where you can really compare energy, do a lot of benchmarking between the stores. You can also apply a lot of intelligence or knowledge. Sometimes information is important. The challenge of the information is to convert that information into knowledge. The more data analysis that you make, the more that you revitalize all the data that you have and present it in a nice format, the better actually for the management. And that's what we are working a lot on that. This is something that we are still trying to enhance in the conversation with you, and as for us it's a challenge. But this is actually the way we are thinking and the way this type of data management tools can help the store operations. Maintenance services, as you can see, reliability, we have to do maintenance services. In terms of maintenance services, we also provide this type of tools that enhance those operations. It actually makes you reduce also the cost. Basically, because you are going to have information at your fingertips, and at the same time you have this possibility of early alert, so that gives you the possibility for one-time fix, also give you the chance to be more proactive on the protocols that you provide, you carry out the services, and as I mentioned before, this effective benchmarking that you can do with intelligent data analysis. And this is all about, the values always of measuring and monitoring within the store are all provided here. This is quite illustrative of the way the things, and that is actually touching also upon the issue we discussed yesterday about designing. When you really close the cycle, you measure, you monitor, improve or implement, optimize, and then maintain. This is the whole cycle, really. It should be the whole cycle of the industry. Just to make sure that we measure, we monitor, we know what is going on, we understand what is going on, then we apply, improve and optimize what can be optimized, and then also we try to maintain it in the long run. But that's also another challenge. It's not only that we we are good today is that we can keep that same later on, and that food safety set up also later on. Yes, I will just finish with, I'm not going into detail here. This is also, this for us is what is important also to secure the first cost investment. We also, scalability is also important for us. So if you are actually only paying for not, we don't have a solution only for all types of stores. We have a solution for the different type of stores. And that's for you, it's important in terms of scalability and profitability. When we talk about assessing our values here, there's actually a lot of values that you can get out of solutions in terms of food loss and energy saving. This is an example, that actually can be applied or can be analyzed based on each local conditions. But that's important, analysis always to be done when it comes to budget. Is to say, okay, I buy from a retailer. We also discussed yesterday about the restriction, constraints sometimes, the energy saving equipment helping the budget analysis of the stores, of the retailers. And that to me is important that when everything is decided, energy saving as well as food safety, as well as training, we really run out, we really have to free from the issue of cost and making them more on the issue of investment. I think for me, training, like energy saving equipment, like food safety, I think it's an investment for you more than actually a cost. The companies also, from this financial aspect, they also need to recognize all this analysis. When the analysis is made rough, and you really analyze exactly all the different savings you can get, you can immediately recognize that actually you are having quite an investment when you are investing in this type of things. And as we said yesterday, I think this type of solutions can easily get a payback time no longer than 3 years. Okay, when you are doing things like that. So I think it's worthwhile to some extent. This is quite a nice thing if you're taking into consideration a lifetime of the refrigeration plant that could be 10, 15 years, actually having a payback of no longer than 3 years, adjusted according to this type of values assessment that can be done very specifically for every type of store. I think it's quite interesting and attractive piece of cake. That's what and then I just want to finish with just a little bit of our evidence. Here we are. Yeah, that's the last one here. I just want to say, okay, this food affordability is something that really the evidence, the backup that we have with this is that today we have of this type of solution, what we call adaptive solutions, we have today in the market more than 50,000 installations with this type of issues, with this type of solutions, and that's we roughly can estimate that the amount of energy that is being saved by those type of installations as an example. The current type of solution is roughly around 5 billion kilowatt hours. Okay? So gentlemen, thank you for your attention. I don't know whether it's
We have about 2 minutes for questions. If anyone has a question.
Yeah, Mr. Prakash here. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Prakash from Carrier Transport. You had mentioned about the measuring accuracy. I think it was EN 441-31. Now, here in this market, there's usually a requirement for calibration on a regular interval. So, how was that part taken care of?
That's part actually of the service. This is what is required also within Europe. We also have a norms called the EN 13486, which is also requiring this issue related to calibration. And that's more of a contracting possibility. We provide, the only thing is that we have, these are the means you have for measuring temperature. Then you have to, go there for doing the calibration. It normally has to be done every, I don't know, what is the exact rule here in Europe is every 2 years. 1 year, okay. You have to calibrate all the different equipment you have for the one that I use for thermometers and recording devices. And that's part of the contracting network, our service network, the one doing this type of calibration. But we provide to those type of also means or knowledge about how that should be done.
Any more questions?
Have you done any installations in the UAE for the Middle East?
Yes. Yeah, we have been on the customers. We have customers here they can talk, they can tell you, different installation we have already made, and we have quite a number of installations already here in the Middle East.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, to take the house for part of the economy, I'm just curious how in Europe, with the house of all the different things, a lot of time you can go to the existing installation and then enhance it, right? And is that very common in Europe? How do you see the Middle East?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that when it's an issue with the legacy, especially for safety, because in order to update actually some of the installation, there has been a lot of retrofitting lately. In order to update that, that's what has been actually lately in Europe, a lot of activity towards updating and enhancing equipment and infrastructure to fulfill those legislations. Sometimes it's easy, but depending on the what type of product the legacy, because sometimes we can actually apply some type of calibration, additional calibration to the existing equipment, as you mentioned, and then you can certificate that as a hazard. But it's true that sometimes the legacy equipment gives you a problem, and then you have to retrofit the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the web enabled monitoring software, it's online monitoring or only reporting? And is as a basic feature, or it is something extra equipment you need to put into the system?
When it's on the web, I mean, when it's online, is this something, this hazard, for instance, that type of example I showed here. This is the report we're using of temperatures that are being logged. We have equipment that is online, but you can also set up some trends to see whether how the temperature at that time is being controlled. But this one, that type of report, is actually is a report that you make out of the data that you have collected firstly. So you have logged those data and then later you present it back. That's actually, as you said, it's a web-based software possibility, so you can have access to what is tested. That was the first question. The second one.
It is a basic feature, or it is something extra equipment I need to come?
It's a basic feature of the tool. You provide more control. You can have either, you can have the three levels. You can have only the infrastructure in the store. You can have only the store, what we call the store manager, which is the unit. The store is a unit that is in the store where you have all the different information. In that unit, you also get information about the hazard. The only thing when you have the software on top, the remote software, that's the basic feature of that remote software. The remote software is something that it gives you the possibility to work a bit more on this data management and also presentation, so you have a better overview of the data. But it's, you say basic, I would say yes, it's a basic of this remote control. So, yeah.
Any further questions? Okay, I have to Is your presentation loaded on CBI?
So yes, it's loaded there.
Okay. Anyone who can be added, we can distribute it if anyone is interested.
Sure.
Secondly, you mentioned about 3 years payback. Is it on the total cost of the controls or the difference between standard controls and your probably more quality?
That's the potential when you're talking about the standard one versus any saving equipment.
So it's
the reference. Exactly, it's exactly the
Can we request further details on case cleaning for HACCP? You mentioned about case cleaning and HACCP documentation via software. Are those available to consultants and end users?
Yes.
What is the channel for us to receive something like that?
We already have, I think we have a branch office here in Dubai, Mr. Singh.
Okay.
And I shall provide you all that information.
Okay.
Available for that.
So we can get it.
Sure.
Okay. The last thing was on the defrosting issue, but there is no time for it. This is a technical debate. If we have time, we can talk about it.
Yeah, that's a lot to amines, yeah, exactly. Not only in terms of defrost method, also the way, because we have actually some pattern on the defrost, the way we made the defrost in the evaporators, because we're also able to do kind of what we call intelligent defrost also, for any type of defrost, in the electrical defrost. We are able to scheme. I mean, the defrost is something, it's also not because of the saving. I think the most important is you're heating something that you're actually cooling, so.
It has a lot of effect on the quality of the product and also the energy saving, so we can talk about it later on.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we request Mr. Amidish from Emerson.
Okay, good morning everybody. Good morning. I was just checking if the coffee is still working.
Morning.
But luckily we don't have too many supermarkets here in this part of the world, Food sell products which are dated 1936. So we're a little safer. We'll probably hear from Ghalib on what more is possible on the other side. Also on the fish part, and I know we have some session on the fish, but luckily our tunas are better than what you see here. So what we are going to talk about is this, if this works. Reduce your cost by 30%. And this is based on yesterday's discussion we had on reliabilities and monitoring. And we are going to talk about all the solutions which Emerson brings in on the table, the whole range of solutions, which actually is focused on trying to save energy, trying to improve your cost, trying to increase your reliability. And that's what is the topic of my presentation. We're going to talk about increasing your profitability by looking at more energy efficient ways to handle the equipment, and also look at being more intelligent. And we have so many components on the refrigeration side, and we can actually fine tune a lot of them and be more intelligent and save a lot of energy. So why energy efficiency and intelligent store is the question. And we had this discussion yesterday on the panel. But look about the energy usage and expense. People are spending billions and millions of dirhams on the energy bills. And if you look at the C-stores or the retail side of the business, 70% of that is air conditioning and refrigeration. And if you're able to address that, that's a potential good amount of saving. Look at the maintenance costs. We spend a lot more money and we have facility managers around this place. And the amount of effort and amount of expense required to manage all the equipment. We have people changing 25% of their components every 2-3 years. That's big money which we're talking. And also on the food loss, it's difficult to quantify a value to this, but if you look at the food loss, that's a big risk on the retailer side, and there is a lot more required to have reliable equipment to make sure that the food losses or the losses on the food side are minimal. And that's what we estimate. It's actually about $10 billion a year where supermarkets actually lose money on their maintenance, energy costs, and the food loss. Before we get into this, let's talk a little bit about Emerson, and let me take 2 minutes actually to introduce Emerson to you. Emerson is a $21 billion company based out of St. Louis in the US, listed on the stock market, so you can check out on the stock prices. A very consistent, stable company for over 40-50 years, and we've been there since about 120 years. Worldwide locations, 240 manufacturing locations, about 120,000, 25,000 employees. We are basically into all kinds of technology solution provider on a global scale. If I look at the different businesses, we are basically divided into 7 groups as Emerson, and we are We are part of Emerson Climate Group, which is basically into compressors, controls, and facility management solutions. But Emerson has a whole lot of other businesses, right from telecom business to oil and gas to industrial automation. Also the food side, food-based disposals is another business, and some storage solutions which go onto the hotel side, and some of the tools. So the whole range of businesses is actually focused on trying to get new technology, new efficient technology to the customers. That's what we do. A couple of years back we had tough years for businesses, but Emerson continued to invest in new technology, new concepts, spent about $700 million to get new products, innovative products to the customers. We have about 8,000 people working around the world for getting all kinds of solutions to different markets. And a lot more of our sales is actually out of the new products we look at. And we worked about 700 odd patents just in 210 when everything was slowing down. We kept on investing on some of the new concepts, new technology, and you'll see some of it, which is also coming out in this part of the world. That's Emerson Climate Technologies. We are basically into air conditioning, heating, industrial refrigeration, electronic services and solution. And I'm going to talk mainly on our refrigeration part and the electronics part of the business. But just for academic interest, these are the different brand names which you see from Emerson. And Wilton is a company which is into industrial refrigeration for bigger cold rooms, bigger projects with single screw technology based out of US, which is getting launched also in the region. Plus we have a couple of other companies which are into controls, and we'll talk a little bit more on that later in this presentation. So let's talk about what are the challenges food chain industry faces or the retailers face. We heard about it yesterday, people talking about reliable equipment, people talking about energy savings, people talking about monitoring. As far as what we see is it's a tough balance between how you as a retailer or a C-store or a warehouse look at balancing your market shares and profitability on one side and look at another side, how do you want to innovate, how do you want to differentiate, and the call each end customer and user has to take. There are issues on food safety. We heard about HACCP, we heard about food qualities, we heard about how you want to design warehouses to make sure the food stays fresh for a longer time. These are the issues which end users face. Also the reliability of the equipment. The equipment have to be reliable. There is no plan B. If a big cold room having 30,000, 40,000 tons of food is at risk and the system breaks down, you need to make sure that the equipment are far more reliable. On the maintenance cost, that's on increase. All kinds of cost people would spend to make sure there are enough spare, there are extra components, extra compressors getting in there, a lot of failures for various reasons. So there is an increasing maintenance cost, especially in this part of the world where people do end up paying a lot more money to various kind of contracting companies. And obviously we talked about energy efficiency. So it's all about increasing energy bills, and we heard people telling how their energy bills are increasing year on year, with Dubai just alone increasing it by about 25%. And we're going to see this trend across the region. And that's what it calls for a need for an efficient system. And we heard yesterday people talking about the first design itself, and we'll talk more on this as to how, as Emerson, we can offer that solution on the designing side. So given this challenge, we are going to talk some of the innovations, some of the concepts, some of the technology being applied. I also share some of the case studies, what people have been doing in the region, around the region, in Europe, in US, trying to address some of these challenges. And that's why we talk about the refrigeration part. And we're going to talk about the concept of scroll as a technology. Scroll is being applied for refrigeration. So what's a scroll? Scroll is basically comprised of two scroll elements, which is one is a fixed scroll and second is an orbiting scroll. And the compression of all the refrigerants is happening continuously between all these pockets. So there is no piston cylinder element, it's just two scroll elements which are compressing the gas, and there is one fixed element and there is one rotating element. If you go to our website, you can actually see a lot more videos on the Emerson website as to how a scroll compressor works and how it offers better solutions to refrigeration business. But what it offers is basically reliability and efficiency. If you look at scroll, which is basically two parts, and versus any piston cylinder compressor, which is 9 parts, so obviously the reliability, because it has only two moving parts, the reliability of the compressor is higher. Also, it's a continuous compression, there is no valve element, there is no re-expansion losses which happens in piston cylinder arrangement, so it's more efficient by the technology itself compared to a reservoir mechanism. And corporate compliance, scroll design, actually compliance is the key. What do you mean by compliance? Compliance is the ability of scrolls to actually separate in certain conditions. For example, it can separate to handle better liquid. If the liquid is coming in, if it's a piston cylinder compressor, you're likely to have more wear and tear and damage to the compressors. But in case of scrolls, and which is very unique to Cochrane, is it can actually move up by mm or so, 1 mm or so, and then it allows the liquid oil or the debris to pass through. So it makes sure the reliability part is higher. Also, in the scroll, there's only radial and axial compliance, which is unique to Cochrane as a technology. So the scroll can not only move axially, but also can move radially. This brings in more reliability of the compressor. And that's what we call as it wears in as it runs, not wears out. And what it is doing is basically improving the efficiency and the reliability of the system. That's what it means. It can actually work on loaded and unloaded states, and also the radial compliance, it can take care of liquids and debris. But what this technology allows you to do is into digital modulation. You can modulate your refrigeration system right from 10% to 100%. And I'm going to give you an example of how people are using it exactly in the next chart. How this concept is being used, applied around the world. And look at this as a product we call it a ZX condensing unit, using scroll, which is far more efficient and a reliable technology. What it is basically an outdoor condensing unit with a scroll compressor, with liquid and vapor injection depending on the application, with built-in diagnostics. What this diagnostic is doing is giving you a real-time information on the system performance. What's happening with the unit? Is it running? What is it running? Sure. Is it giving you a warning mode? Is it on the lockdown mode? So you can take all kinds of actions depending on the feedback. And then obviously on the low temperature side, we are injecting vapor right into the scroll element, so making it a two-stage scroll, so making it far more efficient than available technologies. Now this is available, this is being applied in the region, and this is basically what we spoke is high efficient scroll compressor. And people would wonder if it works on these kind of engines. Well, we have tested it on all kinds of engines in Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, in Qatar, in UAE. No problems with the compressor technology, no problems with the electronics. It's been running for over 2 years now. It has electronics, and it's a very, very simplified electronics, very, very low cost electronics. It's not something which is very complicated, very easy to understand. More importantly, it is affordable. And there are people who are replacing condensing units instead of replacing compressors. And because of its affordability, you can actually replace the whole condensing unit with all built-in features and plug-and-play unit for refrigeration application. Looks good. People don't have to hide it somewhere. Generally, people will put foundation and try to hide such units from the backyard or backside. It looks like an AC. That's what is the concept. And if you have issues on the noise, I can guarantee you this, you have to be really, really very close to the unit to see if it's running, because it's about 40 dBA on the sound level. It's one of the quietest products we have around the globe. What it is giving you is the diagnostics, and that's the value for the end users, that's the value for the contractors. It's giving you a real-time more monitoring of is the unit running, is the unit idle. If you open the panel, it's a simple LED indication which is telling you what's happening with the unit. It's also giving you a warning, which means it is trying to prevent those kind of failures. The standard condensing unit, it would go on running till it fails or till the contractor turns up. It doesn't wait for that part. So the end user's reliability is very, very high. Look at the lockout mode. If you don't address the issue, if the contractor doesn't turn up, the unit locks out after certain warnings. So it is taking all kinds of preventive actions to reduce those failures. Reducing failures also means reducing your maintenance costs. A good value for the contractor. That was value for the end user, but the contractor also is able to diagnose the problems up front instead of trying to send people a few times trying to figure out whether it is an electrical issue, it is a mechanical issue. So he can diagnose it up front, and our customers tell us that this product has been in Asia for about 8 years now. They tell they are able to reduce their 50% of their cost. The contractor is able to reduce on the service side because he can actually diagnose it up front what's happening with the unit. So this allows more reliability, better field service from the contractor side. That's how we started, and yes, this is MRR case study out of UAE. We did this exactly in peak summers because everybody wanted to see if these kind of products and technology with electronics is going to work. And after data logging, we actually moved to changing the existing units to some of the high efficiency units. And by the way, we also saved them space because the older units, if you look at, They have all kinds of foundation on this, and you have to fit in everything before you start the units. It takes 8 hours, 9 hours to start the units. These units, put it on a wall like a AC, start in 2 to 3 hours. So you are actually saving your installation time and cost too. What happened at the end was obviously a